So the thing is, if you want to create an equation of the straight line, let's have a look at we have a green line here, y equals kx plus m, and we have a blue line here, also y equals kx plus m. The blue one is the easiest one to do, so we'll start with that. Why is that? What's going to be the value of m in the blue line?
0.
It's going to be 0, but it's supposed to go, I don't know, it doesn't go, but it's supposed to be going through the intercept here. So the value of the blue equation for y equals kx plus m is that it goes through 0, so there is no intercept. It intercepts the y-axis at the point x equals 0. So the next thing we need to do is we need to work out what is the gradient of the line. Well, we drop down our perpendicular points from, this is a pretty good point to use, because I can see that the difference in x and y between these 2 points, 2 minus 0 gives me the distance 2. y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. y2 is 2, y1 is 0, minus 0, over x2, which is 1, minus 0. So we get 2 over 1, so we get a gradient of 2. So we can say that the blue line is y equals 2x. That's our equation that represents the blue line. Y equals 2x. There's no plus in it at all. Okay, y equals 2x. Well, what about the green line then? Well, we know that we have an intercept point down here of minus 1. Y equals minus 1 when x equals 0. So that tells us that this number here must be minus 1. Is it sensible? Yeah, because you know that when x equals 0, then the value of k doesn't matter. So when x equals 0, the value of k is not going to have any point on the thing. So y is going to equal minus 1, and that's what happens. At x equals 0, y does equal minus 1 if you look at the curve. So that gives us our intercept. Now we need our green gradient. So we drop down some verticals. Let's choose some yellow ones here. Where should we take? Well, it's pretty easy to do it from here down to here. We're going to get y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. The difference in y, well, it's going from 1 to minus 1, so that's 2. And the difference is x, we're going from 0 to 2, so that's also 2. So here we're going to get a gradient of 1. So here our equation of our line for the green curve is that y equals x minus 1. So we have two different equations here. And what gets really interesting is how do these, at what point do these two lines intercept? And what does that mean to say that? What point do these two lines intercept? So now we have the two equations of the line. We know that y equals 2x and y equals x minus 1. And one of the things we can wonder about, we can see it from the graph, but we could actually wonder, will these lines ever cross? And the way that we can try and find out if these lines will ever cross, well, if the lines would ever cross, the values of y between these two lines would be the same. So if these lines crossed at any particular point, they would have the same y value. So let's substitute here 2x, because the values of the y are the same. We would also say that 2x must equal x minus 1, because y equals y. So then we get that 2x minus x equals minus 1. So 2x minus x gives us x equals minus 1. So these two lines would cross at the point where x equals minus 1. And we can see that from our curve. It seems reasonable. Now that we know that the x-coordinate for where these two lines cross is minus 1, we can substitute that back into any of the y equations to get the y coordinate. So if we put x equals minus 1 here, we would get that y equals minus 1 times 2 equals minus 2. If we put x equals minus 1 into this equation, we would get y equals minus 1, which also equals minus 2. So the coordinate that these two lines will cross will be at minus 1 and minus 2. And we can work out that equation, that intercept point, without even having to draw the line, just using our skills of algebra. Or we can use the graph to work out what the intercept point is. So there's lots of different ways you can use equations of straight lines in maths. Okay?